It's June 9th, 2019. This is the Lake Winnebago Fishing Report. I'm an avid fisherman. I live in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I fish the Winnebago chain as much as I can, and I document my experiences and post them on YouTube. Hopefully help some people out in their quest to become better fishermen as well. Hit the subscribe button if you want to follow along. Hit the like button if you like what you see. If you have any feedback or questions, leave them in the comment section. I wasn't able to get out until about 11 o'clock today. I was set on trolling. I knew I wanted to troll most of the day. A lot of the people from Merc National said that they were on a trolling bite, and I kind of wanted to see if I could figure out basically what they're doing and looking for bigger fish. You know, I think I'm pretty good at finding eaters, but the bigger fish have kind of eluded me. And then even when I hook a bigger fish, I don't really have the technique. I hardly ever land them. So just something I want to work on, for my own skill. So I ended up doing that, for the first few hours, and I caught a ton of fish. I caught a lot of sheep's head, and then over on the east side I was catching perch and crappie, and then when I was by Long Point I caught a big catfish. But I just couldn't find the walleyes, or they couldn't get them to bite. So I probably hit 6 or 7 spots. I'm not really sure. And then I just kind of gave up on it, and I thought, well, I've got a couple hours left. I'm going to head to the reef on the west side. Hardly anybody was fishing. It was very quiet over on that side. There were a couple guys trolling by the reef, but in general, the areas around the reef were quiet. And then I started catching fish right away. As soon as I set up, the first fish I caught was a walleye, and then about an equal number of walleyes and sheep's head, the rest of the night. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. I'd catch 12-inch walleye, and then I would catch the 18 or 19-inch walleye, and it was just a really fun night to be out. There was a decent walleye chop, but it wasn't too extreme. It was the boat didn't flop all over the place. It was fun just to sit and fish and just think about life. And it just strikes me that I was just one stop away from getting skunked. It just goes to show you that when people say to move around and to do different things, change things, it really matters. I don't think anybody fishes Winnebago a lot without struggling some days. And really, a lot of times it's just a matter of minimizing the time between those days. That's all you're trying to do. But I remember seeing Gary Parsons carry one 15-inch fish to the weigh-in in one of the tournaments. He was very respected tournament angler on the NWT Walleye Tour, National Walleye Tour, the Cabela's Walleye Tour. And he basically cut his teeth on Lake Winnebago, and here's one of the best fishermen in the world, fishing a lake that he knows very well, and he comes back with one fish. And it really has to humble you. And when people say that they have a hard time fishing Lake Winnebago, I totally sympathize, but with the caveat that so does everybody else. And just because you're not catching fish today, it doesn't mean you won't be catching fish tomorrow, or it doesn't mean the next skill you learn will double your fishing success, because that does happen. I'm finding you just have to stick with it, and you just have to be out there and to do it. The more you fish, the better you're going to be, and the more opportunities you're going to have to put yourself in a good situation. So when you're fishing the reefs, what you really want to do is try to find the tallest spot on the reef. Not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily have to be the tallest in the whole area, but the tallest of everything else around it. So like if you're looking at something that's 10 feet, in 10 feet of water, and it comes up to 7, you want to fish the part that's 7. And if, you're fishing something at 7 feet of water and it comes up to 3.5, you want to fish that. So the fish, for whatever reason, the walleyes relate to the top of the structure, especially when the wind is blowing. So when you've got a good wind, you want to anchor off the structure. You want to anchor off the reef top and then cast onto the reef. There's a couple ways you can do it. One way is to put a marker out on top of the reef. The other way is to kind of remember from the waypoint, and even a different way. The way I've done over the past few years is I'd be drifting, so I'd set myself up so the wind would blow the boat over the tallest part of the reef, and I would drift and have a jig that was just barely ticking the bottom of the structure. So it's a really good way to fish. It's really fun. I mean, you're a lot closer to the fish. You feel the bite, and that's what I like over trolling. Trolling is fun, but it's more mechanical, whereas to me jigging is more hunting. When I post this kind of video, catching as many fish on a single reef as I did, I know I'm going to get a lot of questions from people asking which reef, and I don't mind sharing that information. It's a little tricky because you end up getting a lot of people that think they're going to reproduce a success by going to that reef, and it really doesn't work that way. Tomorrow they probably won't be there. What you're trying to do is you're trying to build the skill to find the fish. That's why a lot of people tell you that you have to move frequently. I can go to the reef I was at and try to fish there again, and they may be there and they may not, but I know they're going to be close by. There are other reefs, both north and south, and I can try all those. And when I am dedicated to fishing the reefs, and it's something I really enjoy doing, I might hit 20 reefs in a day. And even on those reefs, I might shift around, to various spots on the reef where I'd caught fish before, or I know the various structure. And so think more of like how to build the skill than where exactly. A while back, Troy Peterson, Mr. Bluegill, did a video about finding some fish on the reef complex near Garlic Island, and as part of the video, he showed his graph, his GPS. And it was very clear, where he was. There are literally, I think 6 structures that are very similar to the one he was at. I wanted to try to reproduce what he was doing, and I went out there and I was just amazed. There were at least a dozen people on just a little piece of structure that was on his depth finder, and everybody was ignoring all the rest of the structure that was almost exactly the same. Was a lesson to me. I was out there to try to get on that piece of structure. It was a lesson to me to really think and be more open to trying to reproduce the pattern that he was fishing, not necessarily the exact spot. And that's the report for today. Quite a few walleyes today. Had a really good time. We're in full swing. The summer pattern is upon us, and there's a lot of fish around. With this information, let's get out and fish.